So before doing a video on more specifically the garage build, I thought I'd just show the general layout of the property and what I'm working with here. So just to kind of rewind a little bit, my wife and I had a house before a couple years ago. We lived in it for a couple years and we found some things that we just didn't like in general, and things we wanted to change, and things that they couldn't be changed there. Like for instance, we just really wanted some space between us and the neighbors. We found that to be an issue where the last place we were. Just had no control of what they're doing, trash in their yard, shooting guns right next to you, just trashing stuff, and I don't know. You just never knew what was going to be next, and we kind of just generally like having some privacy. Where I grew up is very private location, and it was just when you're at your house, you just kind of felt like you're there, and some people don't care about that, some people do. It's just kind of what we realize is that we do, especially me. And so we started looking around for a place that could make that happen, and we looked at all kinds of options like building and adding the cost on that, comparing it to what we could find, and we had other things too. My wife has certain requirements with the house, especially on the size that she wanted, and I wanted to build a garage, or either have a garage or have a place to build it. And the location was important, making sure we had good internet, because a lot of times I work from home, very important these days to have good internet. Cell service was a big plus too, as a backup. And there's a laundry list of stuff that we were looking for, and we ended up finding this place. It didn't have everything we were looking for, of course probably no place does, but it had a lot of combination of factors that we liked about it. Mainly some of the things I mentioned. It's only about 4 miles from my parents' house. So that was another important thing, because they watch our kids throughout the week usually, and we're over there twice a day, so we don't want to be 30 minutes away from them. It's 2 hours on the road every day just to drop the kids off round trip. So it's only 4 miles from them, close to my work, relatively close to my wife's work. Short drive into town. We can be to a hardware store, a grocery store, a Dollar General, pizza place, all within a mile from here. And we really like that fact of it. Had good internet. Like I mentioned, it's got good cell service, 5G, and it's got natural gas that we liked, sewer system that we like, all those little things that just kind of added up to make it interesting to us. And you had the square footage that we kind of wanted, and maybe not necessarily the exact layout of the house itself. If we were going to build and we had an unlimited budget, we probably would have done something a little different than the design of it, but not horrible either. Seen way worse in terms of some of the creations out there. So with all that said, we kind of got what we were looking for, pretty close, especially in today's market, which at 2021 last year, the housing market is just crazy. I mean, we were competing with places that before you could even go look at it same day, somebody's put an offer in sight unseen for more than what their asking price was. So we were competing with that on top of things. So all that considered, we got a place that pretty much got what we wanted. It needs a lot of work, needs a lot of things. Biggest thing is the garage build, which I'll get into separately, but then the house needs some stuff. One of the main things is the siding. You might notice already that it's got cedar shakes on it, kind of an old style siding, and some people like that. I've actually had a few people tell us they like it. I don't know if they're just being nice or what, but we're not a big fan of it, never were since the day we bought it, but also knew that it's fairly easy to replace. With vinyl, what we're going to do is put some vinyl siding on it, just rip those off and do vinyl. Would be shorter on the list if it wasn't for the garage build, but it's probably going to be after the garage until I get around to that. I've already got some pricing on it and whatnot, but I think we're going to do like a granite gray. It's hard to find a color that matches everything between the brick. It's got a green roof. The garage door is a different color. The gutters are like a brown. But we think a granite gray would look nice and match that somewhat, and really liven the place up a good bit and just make it look much more modern than it is. And besides that, the garage back there is going to be done in vinyl, so we want it to match it. So we'll do the garage. When I get done with that, probably next spring, start doing the vinyl siding on the house. Some areas are going to be easier than others. The other side I'll show you is going to be much more difficult to get to, but some of these areas are pretty easy. It's just a matter of getting up there with a ladder and ripping it off and putting new siding on it. So anyway, a little layout of the house here. So got about a 500-foot driveway down through there, goes into the neighbors or the neighborhood. Now I mentioned about the neighbor situation. Now this wasn't quite as far away from the neighbors as we wanted. We were maybe like double that would have been nice, but not too far, or it's not too close. They're about 100 yards away, and in the summertime when the leaves are on, you really can't see anybody. It's pretty much fully private at that point. Some houses way up there, but even right now it doesn't bother me, and they're not like, people aren't trashing their place like our last neighborhood, and doesn't bother me that much. And anyway, another thing we looked for is a place that's kind of quiet. We like a little bit of quiet to our our house, and whether that's super close to a place that has dogs barking constantly, or next to a freeway, or next to a school zone, or just in general neighborhood, we wanted a place that was kind of quiet, and that's what this is. I mean, we're kind of in the backside of the very edge of city limits, and there's nothing through here. There's no major roads. We're at the dead end of this road essentially, so never get any traffic through here. Across the neighborhood, there's a dog that barks sometime, but it's not too bad. But generally speaking, we're not looking for perfectly quiet, but it's just something that was important to us, and that this offered that. Another thing too we looked at is a lot of places you look at and think, what could be built here at some point? There was a place, our last house down the road from us, that they built a Dollar General out of nowhere. You never would have expected it, and the people they built it next door to probably never expected it either, and it was a big problem when they decided to build. There was like a community uproar about it, and so you just never know. Is something, they're going to build a gas station next to you? They're going to build a new mobile home park right next door to you? What's going to happen? And I really feel like this place, there's not much that's going to happen here over time. It's all hillside. It's in the backside of a neighborhood. It's not in a busy area where a business would want to set up shop. Probably nobody would want to build in this spot over here across from my driveway, which isn't my property. But so I put some weight on that in terms of probably no major changes, and they're not going to build a Walmart next door anytime soon. So something else we were taking into account. But anyway, that's my driveway. Relatively simple. That was another thing we thought about is, what's the driveway situation? Because normally anytime you're going to have some privacy and be away from the neighborhood a little bit, you're going to have a driveway. And some of them we looked at were quite extensive, over a quarter mile long, with a lot of culverts and upkeep and plowing it in the winter and all that stuff. This one is relatively simple compared to many we looked at. It's all flat. There's one culvert pipe there that actually the city owns up to that culvert pipe, even though they don't really maintain it much. But technically, if that would wash out or something, that's their problem, which I think they did fix back in the 90s at one point. So that's kind of another good piece of it. Even though it's about 500 feet to the neighborhood, only about half of it is really mine per se, but I'll probably end up graveling it over time because they probably won't get to it to my liking. But anyway, I'll take you around the house a little bit. It's got a 23 by 23 garage on it right now. Just the when it comes with it, which not a bad size. You can get 2 cars in there, and I'm using it right now for doing stuff, but it just doesn't have enough space for what I'm trying to do. It's got a whole house generator with it's not actually hooked up at the moment. It's got natural gas hooked up, but the wiring's not done. Might do that as part of the garage build while I'm messing with all the wiring anyway. But anyway, it's got a breezeway, which we find a real nice place to sit and get out of the rain if you're hanging outside, or you're coming in the door, you're not getting wet, and that's usually where we come in at. We got a front porch here, nice place to sit. Down over this side here is the hillside. There's a creek down there. It doesn't really flow unless it's raining pretty hard. Some houses down in there at the bottom of the hill. One thing we really liked about it was this second door here on the left. There's a storage area under there. It's about 8 feet by almost 50. That real nice storage area to put junk at. Just everybody builds up junk over the years, and everything from Christmas stuff to whatever. So we like that. And then that other door accesses the basement. Porch system here. I don't know if you can hear in the video, but we do hear a train from way off in the distance sometime. It's St. Albans, so they have a lot of trains come through. Doesn't bother me though, it's just kind of used to it. You can see some of the trees have been cut down. This is kind of our backyard. Doesn't have much of a yard to it, relatively. It's gonna have even less when I get the garage build done, but I'm gonna be building a little play area back in the woods for the kids there, swing set, and building up some materials for a possible future playhouse. I'm thinking that'll be next year because we just got too much going on right now. Other side of the house. You again, I'll talk about in another video, but that'll be where the driveway is for the garage. Dining room in there, patio area, backside. It's about 4,000 square feet and 3 floors. The basement, which is mostly finished, first main floor, and then all the bedrooms are upstairs. It's like a 5-bedroom upstairs with a living area downstairs, and then the basement. Yeah, that's about it. Like I said, much prettier in the winter, or excuse me, the summer, just like most places are. But it looks a whole lot different in the summer, I can tell you that. Anyway, that's about it.